first and foremost, thanks for showing up. And, man, I'm excited, especially on the women's basketball story front. This is a huge game Sunday, but I think it's a game that only makes women's basketball better. I have so much respect for Bart Brooks, who I've known from my assistant days at Louisville when he was at DePaul. Just a really smart coach, a great guy, family guy, and then it's been fun to watch his journey as a head coach and take a program that is known, all right, one more time, known for big wins over Power 5 teams. He always comes in with a game plan. I've already watched every single one of his games this year, and all three were way different. So he's going to be well prepared. We're going to be well prepared. No matter what happens, I think both teams get better. And like I said, most importantly, it's great for women's basketball, and I'm excited to take my young women up to Nashville this weekend for hopefully a great game.
You mentioned Belmont. It's not for people that are casual women's basketball fans or not at all, it's not a impressive looking name, but like you said, they've been in the NCAA tournament routinely and have had several good coaches over the last several years. I mean, what's the challenge of going up there and playing a team like that?
Yeah, it's a different style of basketball. Right, I love those kind of mid-major teams that maybe don't have a big name kid, but they're a team. They're committed to sharing the ball. The last 3 years, they've been ranked in the top 25 in three-pointers made per game. So what makes teams like that so effective is if their defensive game plan can force missed shots and make it ugly, and then they're able to outscore you on the offensive end, it makes the opponent get nervous even more, and you fall into their game plan. And then obviously you're on the road. I watched 2 of their games. They got a great student section. They're supported, so it just makes for the great, unique environment. So you got to be mentally tough for 4 quarters if you want to come out of there with a win.
The schedule of this game kind of reminds me last year when you guys played in South Dakota too.
I hope it don't remind you too much. We lost that one, by the way.
Is it easy to remind your team of how big that win would have been for you guys come March to kind of look at this and say, hey, it's not just a random game in November?
Yeah, 100%. We talk about that. So I actually laid out before the season started net games. And I keep it honest with our team because there is a responsibility to educate them now, because it used to be back in our days when we played in high school, if you had a lesser opponent, you were like, okay, y'all, go get yours. And it didn't matter. You're like, hey, listen, I don't have to do nothing. You play tonight, I'll play tonight. Okay, that kind of game. Those days are done. Because, again, there's a selection committee, and I told them that when you play bad opponents, how you play those opponents, they're judging you and ranking you on difference of score. When you play certain teams like this one on the road, you get points for being willing to go on the road, but how do you play in those games? And then I also educate them like the Georgia game we had last year. And I can't, again, thank Courtney Weber so much. We were getting blown out at Georgia last year, and she was in the timeouts like, you do not quit. This is net points, net rankings. We got to make sure we keep this as close as we can. And so to your point question, when you look back on that, and we were the last 4 to be named in, those moments really mattered. So I'm excited. I'm not referencing South Dakota State to your point, more Creighton, okay? Because Creighton came out good to us. When you look at last year's schedule, I laugh. There's 4 major, mid-major teams, I think, out there that are they're considered mid-major, but they're not to me. You got Belmont, South Dakota State, Florida Gulf Coast, and Creighton. And I think we played, 2 of the 4 last year. So they make them for long nights when you try to prepare for these matchups.
Right. What's going to be the difference for this team to get over the hump in a couple of those games in non-conference play? Because, you had Nebraska, you had chance there, and then South Dakota State, like you mentioned. With this team, what's going to be the difference, you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely defense. I think what you saw last year was a team that didn't have that defensive identity. At that point, we were trying to instill toughness, and we kind of reflected on last year. We were a team that was trying to return joy last year. We were on more of the honeymoon stage instead of playing for championship stage last year. So I think our identity right now, we lead the SEC in points allowed. We're number 1 in our conference, but obviously we're going to be challenged like no other with a new opponent this Sunday.
Yeah, you talked about the depth a little bit on Belmont. The depth for this state team is a huge factor as well.
Yeah.
How big is that going to be when you go on the road in this kind of environment?
Yeah, I'm going to find out a lot quick. These are great questions. I'm excited to see what kind of team I have, right? Obviously we have a great game plan, but like someone like Neer, She's going to be in a lot of ball screen coverages. That's been an area that she hasn't graded out necessarily right now. She's young, but that's what I kind of reference. I'm a man of words, and right now it's punch, learn, grow. Punch, learn, grow. So we've been punched, even though we've won these last, couple of games, but did we learn from that and did we grow? Because we're going to find out when we go on the road, we're going to get those same coverages. And if we've improved, I like our chances. If we haven't, it's going to be a long night.
I know you're looking at the Belmont game, but after that, you guys got
Yeah.
3 games in Houston. I guess what benefit do you see in that tournament and that opportunity?
Yeah. My team's either going to love me or hate me. All right. I think they're going to love me first because Kayla's family lives in Houston, so we're going to have a heck of a Thanksgiving meal. Okay. Your boy's going to get 2 plates. I've lost a couple pounds, but he's about to be up the scale again. Okay. So we'll try to make sure we don't eat too much before the game, so we go in stuffed. But it's 3 quick games where I'm proud of our identity on the defensive end because you're going to have to play all 3 different. There's less than 24 hours of preparation, so it's going to give an SEC tournament feel where you play one in the afternoon, one early, and then the next one I think we play late in the afternoon. So we'll find out how mentally tough we can be. And again, that's why I'm using the words right now, punch, learn, grow. Because obviously I want to win all these games that are coming up, but if we don't, it can't lose sight of the next opportunity because each one of these games, like I mentioned before our season started, we might not have the same record last year, but we might be in better position in the NCAA tournament. And so that's the mindset we got to go in and not out.
When you play a lot of these tournaments that are really big this time of year, you kind of referenced it a little bit. But talk about how important it is for your team to be adaptable on those turnaround games.
Yeah, it's huge because I think that's what coaching's all about. I always joke about it. I think dumb coaches only play one way, and I'm like, okay, what if that one way is not working? I think that's dumb. Right? So for us to have multiple ways that we can get after it, I think it makes it hard for our opponent. Like if our opponent's watching us right now the way we're playing, I'm really proud of the preparation we've put in. It's like, well, how do you want to guard us? And okay, so if you study all the way we play on offense, well, are you ready for all the defenses I'm throwing at you? I mean, I'm trapping you, I'm pressing you, I'm getting after you. So you got to prepare your team at the same end for us. So when those situations happen, it makes it hard for our opponent to figure out how they really want to come at us, and then it gives us a chance night in and night out to win.
What have been your kind of general impressions of the sport this year? I mean, Iowa just you saw LSU. There's been a lot.
Oh, there's a big one you're missing.
Indiana.
Thank you, Robbie. Hold him accountable. Okay.
What
Yes.
have you thought of the parody, this season and stuff like that?
I honestly think it's awesome. Two reasons. One, the women's sports needs it, right? Because again, we always talk about, college basketball is awesome. There's a lot of similarities between men and women's game, but there's also a lot of differences. The men's game, you see upsets all the time. I think it makes it great for the general fan and most importantly, the general fan base. And then the other thing, it gives a program like us hope, right? That why not us? That's my whole saying last year. If you're starting to see, the number 2 team go down in the country, the number 1 team down in the country, it just proves to what I tell my team night in and night out that if we feel like we outwork our opponents every day, then why not us? So I love it. Just hope it doesn't happen against me.
Any questions for Coach?
Thanks, y'all.